bá ṣẹ́ níwájú kò ní wọlá ni wọ́n sún máa wọ ẹ̀dá.
I want to thank everybody who is here, particularly some of our leaders on the high table. And I will just single out two of them. Pa Agorohia. You're welcome. Because these are people who have been in this battle for over 70 years. And for many of them, they have seen Nigeria gradually descending gradually to oblivion. Of course, we have all welcomed Lekki-Epe. His presence here today for me, for my address, is very, very significant. I once asked Lekki-Epe, I don't know whether you can remember, when I went to Abuja in the plane, of course I knew, but I just wanted to confirm. I said, sir, you mean for 4 years and 3 months, you never traveled out of this country while you were the governor of Lagos State? He said, Femi, to do what? These days, many of our governors spend more time abroad than here. Yet, Lekki-Epe embarked on one of the most gargantuan projects any government in Nigeria has ever embarked upon, and that was the Metro Line project, which was aborted by the Buhari junta. By now, Lagos will have been a different city entirely. Not only did we not get the Metro Line, we also paid colossally for the responsibility of the federal government. Over 2 billion naira was paid, when money was money, for the illegal breach of that contract. The MC has referred to some of the projects. And I think when we do that in a forum like this, we are not doing so to embarrass or blackmail anybody. Because as students of history, we must let those who are governing us know now where we are coming from. When the Lagos State government imposed fees, skyrocketing fees on students, I reminded the governor that when LASG was established by Lekki-Epe, a university was established in Ogun State, now Olabisi Onabanjo. One in Ondo State, Adekunle Ajasin University now, and one in Ekoma. Of course, we didn't have one in Oyo State because Oyo State then had 2 universities, Ife and Ibadan. The whole idea of the UPN government then was to make education accessible, higher education, accessible to the children of the poor. And I challenge the governor, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, to look at section 3, subsection F of the LASG law, which states that this university will grant access to higher education to students, irrespective of fortune, class, or race. And that what the Lagos State government did was to subvert the provision of that law. Happily, after a lot of prayer, the Lagos State government was forced to drop the very dangerous policy of chasing the children of the poor out of schools. And I do hope that our people in Lagos will continue to mount pressure on the government to respond to the yearnings and aspirations of our people. And since our country is a religious one, I'm also challenging all born-again Christians, in particular, here, to challenge those pastors who have diverted funds. I'm happy, sir, you are here. Those who have diverted contributions from the church or from the churches to build universities which the children of the congregation cannot attend. It's a sin, it's illegal, and unjust. Right now, some of our pastors are under investigation in the United Kingdom because churches are registered as charities. Once you register a charitable organization, you cannot take funds from the charitable institution to engage in business. When you do that, you have committed an offense. And that is why some very respected religious leaders here cannot travel to the UK today because they have been indicted. The law is the same here. And I'm warning those who are using church funds to establish businesses that very soon they are going to be asked to account. If you set up a church, a school, and the children of the congregation, the poor people who contribute the money, cannot attend those institutions, if you set up those schools for the children of the rich, you are bound to be made to account. And that was what I told the Lagos State Governor. If you want to establish a covenant university, if you want to establish another Canadian university in Lagos, by all means do so for the children of the rich. But you must allow LASG to continue to give education to the children of the poor. The other point I want to address is the language of the rich that we all embrace. The language of the law is fraudulent, and we must be very careful when you are fighting corruption. You know, when a poor man is walking on the road, they say he's wandering, abi? But when a big man is walking on the road, particularly those who jump in the money, who wants to reduce their size, they say they are strolling, or you are taking a walk. The poor man does not take a walk. He is alleged to have committed an offense of wandering, which was abolished in Nigeria in 1986. But up to now, the police team harasses ordinary people and allege they are committing the offense of wandering. The same thing with the fight against corruption. Kakol, therefore, you must listen to this. The late Fela Atiku, what's the record? Authorities stealing. If you haven't listened to that record, or if you have done so, please do so again. What Fela was challenging in that record is the language of the ruling class. Words that are designed to cover stealing. Stealing is stealing. But now you talk of money laundering. I'm sure you hear of money laundering. It's stealing. Something just happened 2 days ago in South Africa. $9.3 million was smuggled from Nigeria to South Africa. Again, the plane that was used for that illegal operation is said to be owned by the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Ayo Orisha. Efforts have been made. This is very important for all of us. Efforts have been made to play on our collective intelligence by saying that that plane has been leased to another company by reference or reserve. We have never been told that the pastor has the right under the law to turn his plane to a kabu and rent it out. For be that as it may, up till now, we have not been told who rented the plane. The government attempted yesterday, the federal government, very embarrassingly, to say that, oh, the federal government is involved in the deal, that fund was sent to South Africa to buy weapons. Of course, since we are fighting Boko Haram, anything goes. But please, we want to ask them, if a government, a legitimate government, is going to buy ammunition in any part of the world, why must you hire two private people whose identity we don't know yet, and an Israeli to do that for you, when you have the Ministry of Defense and two ministers in that ministry? Who gave out that contract? But that is not where I'm going. Under the Nigerian Money Laundering Act of 2011, any amount being taken out of Nigeria must be declared at the airport. The sum of $9.3 million was not declared by anybody. Recently, a son of a governor, the son of the governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido's son, was traveling out of the country. He was caught with $40,000. It was said that he did not declare the money. He was tried and convicted. So if you can try somebody for $40,000, whoever has made away with $9.3 million will have to account. But South Africa has exposed Nigeria to ridicule once again. Not only was that money not declared here, it was also not declared in South Africa. It's illegal in South Africa to come in with such funds without declaring safe. So South Africa arrested the guys and has seized the money and taken the money to their central bank. Free money. Our government is now begging, please, release the money to us. And South Africa is saying, no, you must convince us that the entire transaction is legitimate. Meanwhile, the government is saying here that the plane was released to show that it was legitimate. No, the plane did not commit an offense. What is an offense in South Africa is the illegal money that was taken to that country, and that is what has been seized. So let the people in Abuja not deceive us into believing that, oh, since the plane was not, it's not a, you can only seize a plane if it is used to convey drugs. But if it is used to convey money, you seize the money and allow the plane to go. The other one, I'm going to appeal to Capo. I think you have to specialize. Fighting corruption is a monumental task. You need to specialize so that you can become more effective. There is no way any organization in Nigeria can fight the hydra-headed monster that corruption has become. You will not even be able to keep abreast of development. As you are talking of South Africa, you are talking of what is going on in Abuja, you are talking of what pastors are doing, traditional rulers are giving chieftaincy titles to all manners of criminals. So there is no way you can cope. The other one I'm going to advise, please, in fighting corruption, and this does not apply to Lekki-Epe, we must desist from making a mistake of not examining and looking at the socio-economic system that we operate. The system that we operate starting from SAP. That was when values were completely destroyed in our country. Once we devalue the currency of a country, recklessly as they are doing now, once you privatize the economy of a country, once you make it for people to have access to the good things of life, once you commercialize education, health, and you make it impossible for graduates and young people to get jobs, once the system destroys the middle class, you have extremely rich people and dangerously poor people. In that kind of situation, where the ruling class and all the ruling class political parties are celebrating market fundamentalism, you cannot effectively fight corruption. In other words, those who are likely to retire to penury, I'm sure you know, just last week, soldiers went to the street in Abuja. Old men, over 70, 80, demonstrating for pension, meager pension. In other countries, the concept of senior citizens is taken very seriously. Once you have served your country and you have retired, you are never made to suffer. Because when you suffer, you are asking those who are in the service, take care of your rainy day so you can steal. And that is why pension and social security are institutionalized in any country where you do not want corruption to reign. Second one, and this is very important for politicians who say they are progressives. And I'm asking some of the leaders of the APC are here. Please, in this part of the world, people embraced, people embraced the action group and the AG, UPN, because of what they call the 4 cardinal programs: free education, free health, full employment, and rural integration. Today, there is no program other than stealing. And it's dangerous for any country. Any government, any political party, any political party that does not take the welfare of the people very seriously is not fit to be in power. And that is why Section 14(2) of the Constitution says of Nigeria, the welfare and security of Nigerians shall be the primary purpose of government. So, if security is not taken seriously, if the welfare of our people is not taken seriously, you cannot fight corruption seriously. Therefore, we must build a country where Chapter 2 of the Constitution will be made your system. In other words, if you leave school and you have no job, that Constitution says, Chapter 2, you are entitled to unemployment benefits. Can you believe that? You are entitled to unemployment benefits. If you are not working and government is paying you unemployment benefits for 2, 3, 5 years, government will get you a job. Housing. Somebody was talking of the Jakonde houses. The whole plan there was that after about 10 years, everybody in Lagos should be housed. Today, government is still building houses, so mind you, Lagos state government is still building houses, but for the rich. The list of those houses is 30 million. Your minimum wage is 18,000 naira. You know those houses are not built for the poor. And somebody said, when we say build houses for the poor. They say, is cement cheap? Why is the cement not cheap? Is it not the business of the government to make it cheap? You can't blame me for that. So we must insist that the right to housing, the right to education, the right to health, and the right to all good things of life have to be put in place by the government. Why you have social security is to take care of the vulnerable segments of the society. And I'm going to appeal to CACOL and other civil society organizations here. Please, we can resolve today to enforce those laws that we have forced the Nigerian ruling class to enact. One of them, because Labour was talking of children on the street. No child is supposed to be on the street of Lagos or anywhere. Under Section 2 of the Compulsory Education Fund Act, UBE Act, every child shall be educated free of charge for 9 years, primary to junior secondary school, by the state, by the government of Nigeria. So we can insist that after today, any child we find on the street, we can take them to Alausa for education. We can make it a duty, all of us. Second one, we have just won a case that says any Nigerian undergraduate whose parents cannot afford fees, the government of Nigeria shall set up a bank, Nigeria Education Bank, where students can take a loan for their education. If I am taking a loan for my education, you are going to get me a job so that I can pay back the loan. The other judgment we have just obtained, you know, when they brought SAP, when they imposed SAP on the country, we forced the government to set up the People's Bank so that underprivileged citizens, traders, mechanics and others can go to the People's Bank and access some loans, because poor people cannot take loans from commercial banks. So that bank was set up. Between 1989 and 1992, the bank serviced over 200,000 people. But what the Nigerian ruling class did was to quietly abolish the law, the bank. But between then and now, if you know what they have spent on the rich, in one fell swoop, the central bank released 600 billion naira to bail out the banks of the rich that were destroyed. And between then and now, over 5 trillion naira has been set aside through AMCON to service the toxic debts of the rich. In other words, one of them was owing 140 billion naira. One person was owing 140 billion. So they call him, oh, Morewa. What do you have? Say no. I have God. Say no. What properties do you have? So when they look around, they got properties. He had a plane, private jet. The properties they got from him was less than 10 billion naira. They say, okay, give us these properties of 10 billion and go away. Thou shalt say no more. 130 billion naira was forgiven. Now, luckily for our people, when they dissolved the People's Bank, they did not repeal the law. So we went to court recently. They said you must re-establish the People's Bank. So the court has given us judgment, June 20 this year, that the federal government must re-establish the Nigerian People's Bank. For me, if we can take some of these concrete measures, getting every child to go to school in Nigeria, because as of 2012, 10.5 million children are roaming the streets. Some of them hawkers, traders, And many of them are even raped and abused on our roads. But we can resolve here in Lagos and other parts of Nigeria. Every child shall be in school. And you know the effect of that? If every child is in school, if everybody who has no job is given unemployment benefit, if you have the People's Bank and students can go to school, the level of stealing will stop. In the days of LASG, in order to keep everybody in school, there was a time we had 3 streams. Different people were going to school 3 times a day in Lagos. When you have to do that as a governor, and you won't travel abroad, you have to think. The question of stealing does not arise because you are looking for how to get money to provide services to the poor. And my last point is an appeal to all of us. We must stop celebrating corrupt people. In our homes, in our streets, in our churches and mosques. All corrupt people must be stigmatized and shamed and disgraced. If you know a traditional ruler who is going to give chieftaincy titles to corrupt people, you must demonstrate against such devaluation of our, morals in the society. If the government is giving national honors to corrupt people as we have done in the past, there was a time Chief Khalifa went to court to stop the award. I think that was 1999. So when Obasanjo came, he had to cancel the award that year because so many criminals were in that list. The last one, still on this point, is that the federal government is currently celebrating the recovery of Abacha loot. And here I must commend the federal government. More than any government in the world, Nigeria has made a lot of progress. The fund of Mobutu, no progress has been made. El Salase, no progress. Eguema, no progress. But that of Abacha, the government of Nigeria has collected $3.2 billion of the Abacha loot. But we must ensure that it is not a case of Olegbe Olegba. We must insist on proper accountability as far as the fund is concerned. $3.2 billion properly utilized can wipe out poverty from our country. And that is why we have to insist that such funds be properly utilized. There is another man, it's only Abacha they are harassing because he's dead. There is one who is alive criminal who cannot account for $12.4 billion. I'm talking about Babangida. I'm sure you are aware of that. $12.4 billion. Of course, if we have that, at least half of Africa can be rid of poverty. So that is why just two people. I don't want to talk of the Ottoman. No. Ours, Obasanjo is the only president in the world who built a university while in power. The only one. You are not aware. Atiku is the only vice president in any part of the world who built a university while in power. The day Obasanjo's university was to be approved, the best, Atiku presided. The day Atiku's home was to be approved, Obasanjo presided. Another one in Ota, this fellow, Babangida, he has never done any other job in his life other than government job, army to retirement. He too has set up a university. Under the law of Apple, these 3 universities are forfeitable to the state. Under the law. The only gift you can receive while in power under the code of conduct for public officers are traditional gifts like kola nuts. But for Obasanjo to gather people in Abeokuta, extort money from them, and build a library, that library is profitable to the state. And that is why I'm suggesting that CACO should specialize. Let's know your areas of competence so that others can take up other areas. Because it's a monumental business to fight corruption. While thanking CACO, let me say that ours remains a potentially great country, but we can all insist on actualizing the greatness of our country. This is very important. Just yesterday, the Senate President, Mr. David Mark, announced that there will be no election this year. Oh yes. He said what is important now is the war we are prosecuting. And that President Goodluck Jonathan should declare full-scale war on the entire country. That the election is not on the table now. You know the remark? It was one of those who are not the June 12, 1993 election. This one, they have not held the election. They want to annul it. But we must insist that the election must hold. Now, Iraq, Libya, and Afghanistan being destroyed by the imperialist forces. You know they are destroying those countries. You are not aware that America and the West, they are destroying those three countries. And Syria now. But even in those countries, they hold elections up. You understand me? In Yobe, an election was held last year. The same regime is planning to hold the election in Adamawa in about 2 weeks' time. So why would they not hold the election next year in February? It is to keep the current regime in power because they are not sure they may win the election. But I'm also going to appeal to the media. This is my final appeal. The Nigerian media must assist our country by ensuring that all elections in our country are issue-based. This business of celebrating criminals, some of them win elections in prison, you know. These criminals in Nigeria. Some are standing trial, they are winning elections. Because the press celebrates them. You do not help the society to make up its mind. You must interrogate the past, the pedigree of all our politicians. And I saw when Debo was reading his address, many people were uncomfortable because he was touching very dangerous areas. And I'm going to insist that Debo's paper be circularized. It must be sent to the Lagos State government. We must insist on the right of reply. All the issues raised by Debo, the Lagos State government must reply. And if we don't get a reply, we also have a duty in alliance with CACO to demand full explanation. But Debo raised one. This Ekpe road is supposed to be a 21-kilometer road. Only 7 kilometers have been constructed. And they erected 3 toll gates. 3. Until people rose up. I think they have 2 now. But that is not even acceptable. You cannot erect a toll on a road you have not completed. It's not right. The other one, the loan for that road, quote me, was taken from African Development Bank. So this business of partnership or whatever you call it is not correct. You have taken loans which we are going to pay back. You cannot therefore turn around through payment of taxes. You can't turn around and ask me to pay 3 times to travel on that road. So I'm appealing to Lagosians. We have been too quiet for too long. Hence we have been messed up. The time has come for all of us to insist on our rights. And I'm going to appeal to the elite on the day of election. Don't watch television. Don't sit down with your telephone. Send text messages. Go out there and insist on those who govern you. And I want all of us to go back today and start with our local governments. All those guys who are messing us up in the local government, we must know their office. Find out what they are doing. It's not just the Alasa people alone. The local government. The money the Kenya local government makes, the IGR of Kenya, is by far higher than some states in the country. And that is why we must join CACOL in celebrating its achievements today, and we must join CACOL to ensure that this country is made a better place. Thank you very much.